You know that feeling, right? Your company's practically drowning in data, but when you need a straight answer to a simple question, it takes forever. Well, let's dive into how AI is about to change that for good. I mean, it's a question pretty much everyone in business has asked at some point. You just want to know something, but for some reason, getting that data is just slow. Why?
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. You ask what seems like a simple question about sales, and you're waiting and waiting. A week goes by, maybe two. It's this universal bottleneck we've all just learned to live with.
So that brings us to the real problem here. It's not that we don't have the data. Oh, we have tons of it. The data itself is trapped. The real issue is something called knowledge latency. It's that painful gap between when you ask the question and when you finally get the answer.
But what if you could just ask? What if you had your own AI data analyst that could answer you instantly? Well, that's exactly the promise of a technology called Text-to-SQL.
Okay, so what is this text-to-SQL thing, really? Think of it like a universal translator. You ask a question in plain English, like you're talking to a person, and the AI translates it into the special, structured language that databases speak. That language is called SQL.
And the goal here, wow, it's a big one. It's all about democratizing data. The idea is to give everyone, not just the data scientists, but marketing managers, salespeople, you name it, the power to get answers from data in seconds. And the best part? No coding required.
So how does the magic happen? How does this AI actually think? Well, it's not just one big, mysterious brain. It's actually much cooler than that. It works like a highly coordinated team of digital experts, and each one has a very specific job to do.
And here's the lineup for our digital dream team. You've got the planner, the linker, the generator, and the corrector. Let's break down exactly what each of these specialists does.
First up, you've got the planner. This is your senior strategist, the big picture thinker. Before anyone touches any code, the planner takes your complicated question and breaks it down into a series of smaller, much more manageable steps.
Next, the plan gets handed off to the linker. Think of this one as the team's super knowledgeable archivist. It knows the database inside and out. Its job is to look at the plan and find the exact data blueprints, the technical term is schemas, that are needed to answer the question. And just as importantly, it ignores everything else.
All right, now for the heavy lifter, the generator. This is your master coder. It takes the clear plan from the planner and the right blueprints from the linker, and it gets to work, translating all that logic into the precise SQL code the database will understand.
And finally, and this part is absolutely critical, you have the corrector. See, the AI doesn't just write the code and hope for the best. The corrector acts like a quality assurance tester. It actually runs the code. If it gets an error, it doesn't panic. It uses that error message as feedback to go back and fix its own mistake. It's a self-correcting loop.
Okay, so that whole process sounds pretty incredible, right? But, and this is a big but, it's not magic and it's not foolproof. We really have to talk about some of the very real and frankly dangerous downsides.
The risks really fall into three big buckets. First, there's accuracy. The AI can hallucinate and give you an answer that looks right but is actually subtly wrong. Then there's performance. It might write code that works but is super inefficient, slow, and expensive to run. And finally, security. This is a big one. A poorly secured AI could be tricked into leaking sensitive data, or even worse.
And if you think that security risk sounds a little abstract, check out this quote from a developer on Reddit. They were testing one of these systems and it produced a delete statement. Think about that. One command that could potentially wipe out an entire table of critical company data. This isn't theoretical. So I mentioned AI hallucination a second ago. What does that actually mean in this case? Well, it's basically when the AI just makes stuff up. It might try to pull data from a column name that doesn't exist, leading to an error, or worse, a quietly incorrect result.
And this points to a really important shift in security. For years, the big scare was SQL injection, where a hacker would sneak malicious code into a form. The new threat is called prompt injection. Instead of sneaking in code, the attacker sneaks malicious instructions into the plain English question to try and trick the AI into doing something it shouldn't. So, you've got all this incredible power on one hand, and these serious risks on the other. What does that actually mean for the future of working with data? It points to a huge shift in roles, from being a writer to becoming a reviewer. This quote from the 2026 Data Skills Roadmap just nails it. Your role has shifted from code writer to code reviewer.
Let's unpack what that really means for us. Here's the new deal, plain and simple. The AI writes the code. You verify the logic. The machine can handle the tedious syntax, but the human's job, your job, becomes even more critical. You're the one who has to make sure the AI understood the question correctly and that its approach actually makes business sense.
And that's why these uniquely human skills are becoming more valuable, not less. The focus moves away from just hammering out code and moves toward things like asking better business questions in the first place, really understanding the context of the data, being able to spot when the AI's logic is flawed, and most importantly, turning those data insights into real-world action.
So I want to leave you with this one big idea to chew on. If the AI is becoming this brilliant analyst that can answer almost any question we throw at it, what becomes the most important question of all? What is the one question that only a human can ask?